like we should really feed off each other.
Okay.
Doesn't even have to be a real song.
Okay.
All right. Scoop doo bap, bop doo boop, boo doo bap, bra bop bop, ring dong dong, ring ding, doo doo bap bop doo, ba ba bop, ding ding dong bow.
Well, hello there.
Hello.
Today we're going to be talking about a little thing called
Love.
No,
No,
we're not.
that's a crazy thing, isn't it?
No, we're not talking about love. We're talking about irony.
Is love little or crazy? Little thing called love. Little fine thing called love.
Love is little and crazy. I don't know. So we're going to be talking about irony today.
Boy, that's really good coffee.
So we're going to be talking about irony today.
Yes, we are.
We're going to be talking about why is irony funny?
It's not necessarily
Irony,
funny.
yeah, because irony isn't always funny, is it?
No.
Irony, if you're watching a soap opera, and the husband kills the wife, and the husband remarries someone else, but as it turns out, it was the person that he remarried that actually killed the wife, and and that's irony. That's dramatic irony, because the viewer knows something
Sure.
that the protagonists don't. But it's not funny, but it's ironic.
Sure.
Why is irony sometimes funny
Why indeed?
and sometimes not?
Well, maybe it's just about the context. Maybe irony is not inherently dramatic or funny. It's just it's about the content that it deals with and the way that it's portrayed.
And the way that it's portrayed. Yeah. So it's portrayed in a funny way.
Think about that. Think about it this way. That almost sounds like an Arrested Development plot, because you know how Arrested Development tried to mimic those early 2000s soap operas, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so you could totally imagine the exact same plot happening in Arrested Development, but it would be portrayed in a totally different way.
It kind of does in a way because of the whole kidnapping of the brother and
Oh yeah, and
sending him to jail.
right, and the incestuous
Yeah.
relationships between all the family members.
Yeah.
And it's all extremely ironic, and it's something that you could potentially see on an actual serious soap opera.
Yeah. So what about this? Can something be funny without being ironic? Or is irony required for humor?
It's certainly not every kind of humor. Well, I don't know.
Or maybe it depends on the culture as well.
Sure. I mean, physical humor, for example, it'd be like a weak irony. You don't expect your friend to trip and fall and die, and so that'd be somewhat ironic.
Well, what is irony, though?
It'd be hilarious.
I have a definition of irony
Yeah.
from the Merriam-Webster,
Mm-hmm.
and it reads, crap, hold on.
And I have a definition of ironing.
What's your definition of irony?
Putting the dope in the crock pot and cooking it up. Irony.
God bless. Irony, defined as an incongruity between the actual result of a sequence of events and the normal or expected result. Now, I thought you were literally chugging it.
Jug! Oh,
Give me that.
that's too much.
You too.
I've had too much coffee
You're
already.
crazy.
I'm crazy. He wild.
You're crazy.
He wild.
So, irony. That's what irony is. So can something be funny without being ironic?
Uh-huh.
Can something be funny without it involving a sequence of events where something unexpected happens?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to think.
That's true.
Like-
It is hard.
Think about puns. Puns are pretty much funny because you don't expect a pun. And when you expect there to be a pun, then
Totally.
it's just, eh.
I think humor, it does seem to come from unexpected events. Because that is essentially the dying breath of a lot of shows. They stagnate after a couple seasons, right, and go really downhill. It's because they become predictable in their humor.
Yes. It's like the Big Bang Theory.
Sheldon, it was absolutely never good.
You take that back.
I will not. It's a garbage show.
You take that back.
I won't.
By my honor,
I won't.
I challenge you to a duel.
I will throw lukewarm coffee on you.
It's not even warm.
Stain your entire shirt.
I got this coffee 5 hours ago. I've been drinking it slowly.
Right. It's the best kind of buzz. Mr. Solo Dolo.
So anyways, so far it sounds like we're coming to coming to the conclusion that for something to be funny, at least it needs some irony. Irony being defined as broadly as possible, as just incongruity in just sequences of events or sequences and defiances of expectations. It has to have some element of that. Although not everything ironic is funny. And so we kind of have this hierarchy in a sense in which irony is kind of towards the top of the hierarchy, and from irony humor emerges and then other things may emerge.
Right.
And so irony is more fundamental to the human psyche than humor itself. And humor just emerges from irony.
Sure.
It's like, think about a magic show. And that's pretty ironic, if you ask me. You know, pulling a rabbit out of a hat, didn't see that one coming.
No, dude, and see that's where I think the definition of irony fails, is because clearly irony does not apply to every unexpected situation. Clearly, a basic magic trick is not ironic.
You know,
it's simply unexpected.
That's true. I didn't think of that.
So that it goes back to what I'm saying. There has to be like some third variable that is implicit in irony that is really, really difficult to put your finger on, or at least very, very difficult to articulate.
Yeah, it's tough. Do you know about the benign violation?
Yeah, you've told me about that.
Yeah.
But have you told the viewer?
I think so. Do you want to move on?
Yeah.
All right. Have you heard of? Okay. So the benign violation. I forgot the name of the researcher who. He actually he works down at Boulder.
Oh yeah, we've talked about
just down the street, really, from Fort Collins, which is where we are. So benign
violation.
So it was a theory on humor created by Peter McGraw-Hill.
He also wrote a lot of textbooks.
Yeah, he did. So it was created by Peter McGraw down in Boulder University, CSU Boulder, or CU Boulder, whatever. Basically, so if something is a violation of what we expect, that's what it means for something to be a violation. And if it's benign, meaning that we perceive it in a non-threatening way,
right,
then we react to it with humor. And that's what the benign violation is in a nutshell. And it's very difficult to think of something that's funny that is not also a benign violation. So, for example, if something is a violation, but it's malign, meaning that we see it as threatening, and it's not funny, it's just fucked up. And if something is benign,
okay.
you know.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, like for example, if your friend trips and falls, that's hilarious. If your friend trips and falls
and dies,
it's
a little less funny.
It's somewhat less funny.
Yeah, that's interesting because that accounts for why certain like starving kids in Africa jokes can be funny, right? But others are like, it's just too much.
It's cringy.
Exactly.
Or like racist jokes, like
right.
Designed to provoke a reaction.
Exactly. Yeah. So that totally accounts for that disparity there. That's interesting.
Yeah. What about things that are benign but not a violation?
Like tumors.
See, that was funny. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
That was a ba-boom ching.
Ba-ba. Boop.
Yeah.
D-dot.
You know what That's, yeah. All right. Let's stay on top. You know, I'm the one with ADHD, and here you are.
I'm a lotto. I'm a mosquito. Yeah.
Can I try?
Hey. Yeah. Feel free to stop watching at any point.
Yeah, feel free to dislike this video at any point.
The dirty word. Ow, 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 ow. Oh my God.
What were we talking
about? Oh my God,
about?
It's perfect. It's perfect. I've got even the Cobain glasses. Hello, hello, hello. She has me like her hands when she turns black. I've been trapped inside her heart-shaped box for a week. Okay, enough Nirvana.
Oh. Hello, viewer. What the fuck were we talking about?
We were talking about benign violations before we got onto the tumor.
Yeah, so a tumor actually is benign, but it's also, comedically speaking, a benign violation. It's like, because the
You almost got cancer.
Yeah, it's like the tumor is benign, meaning it's not threatening anymore. It's not going to kill you.
Right.
And it's not a violation because, well, you already knew you had a tumor.
Right.
So it's a benign violation. A tumor that's benign is a benign violation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not funny.
Sure.
So it's not. So if anybody in the audience has a benign tumor, it's not funny.
It's not funny?
It's not.
But a malignant tumor is a laughing matter.
Yeah, it is. Malignant tumors are a lot more funny.
They are.
For sure.
They've got a better sense of it.
Although that's probably more of a malign violation.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, benign tumors are no laughing matter. Mostly because there's just nothing funny about them.
Mm-hmm.
It's benign.
Mm-hmm.
It's a benign. No, it's benign, but it's
What about a banana
Anyway.
violation?
banana violation. Huh, I never thought about that.
Yeah,
Actually.
because think about that.
That's pretty good.
That's not a bad definition.
You know, I think you're onto something.
I do think I'm onto. I think the secret is fruit.
No, you've got a lot of talent, young man.
I do.
Don't let it sit in the bushel basket.
Is that from Goodwill Hunting?
That's from the Bible, asshole.
Oh, really?
There's like some passage in the Bible where they talk about
Lest ye
bushel baskets.
judge not, lest ye be judged.
No, it's when Jesus talks about light. You don't put you have this light. It's metaphorical of the light of spirit, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Of your, you don't put it in a bushel basket. You know.
Mm-hmm.
This just got religious.
It did.
So, are we still talking about humor?
Not really, but we can be.
All right. So let's.
Okay, I came up with a theory of humor that I told you about the other day. I could outline that for our precious viewers.
All right, let's do it.
All right, precious viewer. So this does not apply to all kinds of humor. It does not attempt to be as broad in scope as the benign violation. It's definitely a little bit more specific, and it applies largely. It's my theory of ridiculous humor. And so you have the larger category of ridiculous humor, and then beneath that you have two subcategories.
Oh yeah.
One is absurd humor, and one is surreal humor.
This is. He told me about this. This is
did.
legit.
This is legit.
This is legit.
Shit.
Original too.
Original too.
Yeah,
All up
this
here.
is totally his theory.
My neurons
It's
have
really
been
good.
firing for weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, so ridiculous humor is so named because if you were to be presented the content of the ridiculous humor without humorous elements, devoid of any humorous context, it would not make any sense, and so it would be totally subject to ridicule. You would be totally right to criticize the progression of events or the statements made outside of the humorous context if they weren't portrayed humorously. And so that's what makes them ridiculous, is they're subject to ridicule. But when presented in a humorous context, you
like
take a less critical approach to it. You just run with it and laugh.
That's basically why I have a mustache.
Right.
It's
ridiculous.
ridicule.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 I'm ridiculing myself by
Right.
leaving this caterpillar on my upper lip.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And so under ridiculous humor, there are two categories: absurd and surreal humor. So absurd humor I think absurd humor arises from the discrepancy between what the audience wants to understand and what they're allowed to understand given the content they've been presented with. So
What they're allowed to understand given the content.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
So what the content they've been presented allows them to understand. They may not have all the information, right? They may not. They've only been presented with a certain few facts, and those facts, in combination with each other and nothing else, just make no sense. They're completely ridiculous.
Can you give an example of that?
Okay, sure. So, Arrested Development, I think, is a great example of absurd humor.
It's a great show.
And so there's a scene where this contractor comes to their house to fix it or something, and he goes under the house. Their house collapsed due to an earthquake, and so he crawls under the house to try to fix the support or something like that. And he comes back and reports to Michael, and he's like, "Yeah, well, you've got a lot of damage down there. There's also blue paint and jean short fragments, and it's in reference to Tobias, right? This guy who paints himself blue because he thinks he's going to be a part of the Blue Man group.
I haven't seen that episode.
Yeah, and who has
That's
a
really fun.
rare psychological disorder that forces him to always wear jean shorts under everything else he's wearing. And so that is just completely ridiculous. We cannot fathom why a person would ever behave in such a way, and yet
Yeah.
it is being presented to us in clear daylight. So that's absurd humor to you. It is contained within the boundaries of reality. Like, we could imagine a man who lives such a lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
But it's completely crazy to us, and so all we can do in the face of such absurdity is laugh.
Yeah.
And then the second subcategory is surreal humor, and a good example of that is Monty Python. And the difference between surreal humor and absurd humor is surreal humor is it is contained beyond the boundaries of our reality. It is surreal. It is not strictly real. So you have in Monty Python, there's a lot of fourth wall breaking. There's the characters will talk to like some voice that just speaks out of nowhere. Occasionally
God makes an appearance quite often.
Right, yeah. Occasionally the characters go from real life beings to like contained on paper. They're like cartoons.
Oh, what is that Monty Python sketch where you are not a mouse, you are a man?
I've never.
And then,
I haven't seen that, man.
it's like the he goes to see a lawyer or something, and then the lawyer just starts flirting with his wife, and then they start like doing
That's funny.
foreplay, and then he leaves, and then God appears and says, "You're not a mouse, you're a man."
Right.
And then he goes back in there, and then they're just having sex. And he just gets all shy, and he goes out there and gets struck by lightning.
Yes, exactly.
That's yeah.
Yeah,
surreal.
It's just bizarre.
I mean, it sounds like a Monty Python sketch.
Yeah, totally. It's just like utter nonsense, and so that's the distinction between surreal humor and absurd humor. Is absurdism largely is contained within the boundaries of reality, whereas surreal humor says fuck it to the boundaries and just incorporates things that are so completely conceptually illogical.
I think that's my favorite genre.
I like
comedy.
Yeah, surreal's pretty damn
I like
good.
the surreal humor.
But overall, I just like ridiculous humor, and that encompasses both.
Yeah.
So that's my theory of that.
All right. We could end the video here, but we're not going to because I have one more question.
Okay.
I forgot it though.
Oh.
Give me a sec. I have to.
Sure.
This is like when you go.
Wait, that would actually be a good ending. I have one more question. Wait, I forgot.
All right. That wasn't the ending. You just zoomed in. What the hell?
Is this it? Is it off?
Yeah, let me.
Are we still rolling?
All right.
Are we rolling?